So today is a very good day because it's the 1st of February. It's the first TED Talk, and you're the first audience. So this makes it a very good day. So today, I want us to just have a small conversation on something small, which is called goals. It's not a new thing. It's a very big topic, but we'll just try to have some little discussion about how to go about working with goals. It's very good because today is the 1st of February, because 1 month ago, a lot of us had goals. Being the first day of the year, most of us as human beings set some goals. Of course, you give them certain names. You say, this is what I will do for the next 365 days. This is what I will do for the next 30 days. You gave yourself some goals for 7 days. So we're going to look at how we can do this in an interesting way and learn about some of the things we do when it comes to goals. So the first thing is, I believe each and every one of us has some goal at the moment. A goal that you're working on, a goal that you've been trying to achieve, or a goal that you've actually just achieved. So looking at this, let's find some ways in which we can be able to work with goals and see the way forward. So first thing, there's a bit of delay, sorry. I don't know, for some reason. I know most of us have taken some journey, and at one point you traveled at night. How did it feel? You only could see a few meters ahead of you. But deep in your mind, you knew where you're going to. You're traveling to that city, you're traveling back to the family, you're traveling to see a friend, but all you could see around you was darkness. And sometimes, when we set our goals, they look very far, they look very distant, but all we see is just a few steps ahead. But that does not mean that you're not going to achieve your goals. Rather, it tells you you're still on your way. So when you're feeling like this, when you've set some goals, there are some things we can do that should make our journey more enjoyable. At the end of the day, when you traveled that night, you still enjoyed the road. You still enjoyed the views that you could see, even if it was only a few meters that you could be able to see. So let's pause for a minute and see some of the things that could happen when it comes to a journey. When we are setting a goal, when you set to travel to that place that you like, there are some things you do. Of course, you prepare yourself mentally. You prepare the things that you do. So anytime that we work with a goal, the first thing that you actually do is you actually break your goal into smaller, achievable steps, into smaller things that you're going to achieve along the way. So I have a small goal that I'm going to discuss with you, and we're going to see how this happens in real life. So you have this as your goal. First thing you do is break it down into smaller steps that you're going to achieve along the way. And as you do this, the first thing that you do is you must have focus on the little things that we do. Every time that you have a goal, you're going to have small steps that you're going to take. But the most important thing you have to do is keep focused on the things that you're doing. So when you plan to go to Tashkent or to visit your family, there are small things that you do. You say, today I'm going to pack my bag. So that's a small step that you're taking. So every time we do that, you first breaking down the problem into smaller steps. As you do this, you keep achieving your result. You keep achieving your result. I know by now you can start seeing my result forming. As you're doing this in real life, a lot of times, as you try to achieve your goals, some things do happen along the way. So far, I don't know if you can see my result. For some reason, there's some little delay on my system. Maybe I should use this hand. I don't know why it's taking a bit of time here. Just a second. Okay. I think it's acting better now. So as you move with your goals, you achieve results. As you can see, it's not always the case that we get the results we want at every time we do an attempt. So sometimes we get good results, and sometimes what happens? We do fail. But failure is not a problem. One person once said that we should build on the failures that we actually experience. So far, I believe in your mind you see a pattern forming. So whenever you're having some goals, you are able to break them down, you form some patterns, and you start realizing some things work, some other things don't work. As you can see here in my example, a lot of things in most cases will not work. But we build on the failures. If I was to ask you at the moment, do you think I have all my answers right? Maybe not, maybe yes. But when we fail, this should be the stepping stone into our success. So whenever you have some failures, you actually use those failures to come up with a solution. They are just a small deterrence, but if you actually worked on those failures, you actually start realizing you start achieving your goals. I'm sorry. Technology does fail sometimes. So you can see every time we have failures, we were going to have to build on our failures, and if we actually build on our failures, we actually achieve what we intended to do. So if I was to quickly move through this, you can see my failures in the first attempt have actually become a stepping stone into my completion of the goal that I have. At the same time, one of the things that we do realize when we're working with goals, it's not always the case that you will see the goals clearly at the very beginning. You set your goals, you achieve some of the small steps that you have, but at some point you may feel it actually is not working. Remember what Steve Jobs once said, we cannot connect the dots facing forward, but rather we always connect the dots facing backwards. So as you move and as you move towards where you had planned to go, the night may be dark, the road may be rough sometimes, but as we keep moving on, we start realizing that every time we have a small win, that small win will actually propel us to the next small win. And if we slowly build on these small wins, we actually will be able to get to our final destination. Just like we see our staircase on our amphitheater. It is made of small steps, but all these steps are actually connected with each other. You won't be able to reach the top if you don't have one of the steps. And if we make very big steps, I assure you, you're not going to be able to move from one point to the next. So the small leaps that we're going to make in our journey when we set goals will be very important. When you encounter failure, just stop and pause. Halfway through my numbers, as I was working on the multiplication, I paused and stopped and thought, what have I been doing right? What have I been doing wrong? So it's always good to stop sometimes when you have your goals and think of what is working and what is not working. And with that, I will say this will be a small discussion that we will intend to carry on, I intend to carry on, as we build on the concept of creating goals. So what I will call you to do at this point is, as you move forward, as you set your goals, remember, break your goals into smaller steps. Then work on each step. And the last thing I'll say, keep the focus. All the time before we did this, I had everything on focus. Just a small bit, you focus on that, you finish, and you move on. And if we keep doing this, I believe we'll be able to achieve the goals that we set to achieve. Be it a 1-day goal, be it a 7-day goal, be it a 365-day goal, be it a 10-year goal. You will be able to achieve this if you keep working step by step. Thank you.